What's going on, guys? Welcome to the final video. Well, the final video at this time. We may test a few more hitches out, but the final video in our 4-brand shock absorption hitch challenge. Those 4 brands being GENY, Bulletproof, Shocker, and CURT. So the last one in the test here is going to be the CURT Rebellion XD. This hitch has a 15,000 pound maximum tow capacity and a 1,500 pound maximum hitch weight capacity, which means we had to remove that big bag of dirt off of the back of the trailer, and we're going to have to reposition this one a little further back. I just checked the tongue weight scale, and we're at 1,750 pounds with just that bag. So I got to move that one back a little bit so it reduces the tongue weight. We're going to try to get at around 1,400 pounds. I don't want to go to maximum, but I do want to get as close to it as possible. And yeah, that should just be pretty simple. We're just going to unstrap this bag, move it back probably about 1.5 feet, and that should get us where we want to be. But we do want to be sure that we are not overloading these and we're using the right hitch for the right application. That's something that I'm trying to stress in all these videos. A lot of people want to get the biggest and baddest, toughest thing out there, and that may be fine for conventional hitches that don't have any shock absorption built into them. But once you start getting hitches that have shock built into them or absorption built into them, you need to be sure that you get the one specific to the weight of your trailer and the tongue weight you're transferring to it. Shocker isn't as bad because you have an airbag, so you can adjust the airbag to just about any tongue weight you need. However, GENY, they have a 10,000, a 16,000, a 21,000, and a 32,000 pound capacity version of their Boss series. And if you only have an 8,000 pound trailer and you have roughly 800 to 1,000 pounds that it will transfer to the back of your vehicle, then you only want to get the 10,000 pound version. Getting the 16,000 pound version is going to yield results you're not going to enjoy because it's not going to be enough weight to actually articulate the torsion arms inside of the tubes. And that's going to be a problem, right? It's going to basically mean you spent a lot of money on a hitch that had a function that you're not able to enjoy. So always try to get the hitch that's right for your vehicle. Again, you have a lot more flexibility with Shocker because it's an air system and you can add air, but the value proposition behind some of these other ones is the fact that you never have to worry about an airbag failing. So if you get a GENY, a Bulletproof, or the CURT, it's rubber. Eventually the rubber can wear out, but it's not going to be as, I guess, changing as if the airbag wears out. And the good thing about Shocker is you can actually buy replacement airbags. They're not terribly expensive, and you can do a replacement if you need to. That said, we're going to shift this load back a little bit to reduce the tongue weight going to the back of the truck so we can test out this CURT. This is on a 2-inch shank. If you get the 2.5-inch shank, it is a much heavier duty version of this hitch. I think it's closer to 20,000 pounds, but at 15,000 pounds, I think we're going to be right in that sweet spot to where most people would really need a hitch like this. So let's get things shifted, then we'll make our connections and we'll hit the road. Okay, so I've moved the bag back about 1.5 feet. Got the scale under here again. Let's see what the numbers look like. Well, that might be perfect. We are probably right around 1,300 pounds, 1,250 to 1,300 pounds, which I think is going to be absolutely ideal for this testing. Doesn't take a heck of a lot of moving to really redistribute weight. So we're right where we need to be. Let's get it hitched up and get this test going. One thing I do want to point out that I don't really care for about the CURT Rebellion is this finish. Now it's interesting because it looks like it has a powder coated finish on top of a painted finish. So part of this powder coating comes off pretty easily, but right underneath it you have a high gloss black finish, which is interesting. So you're not going straight through to the steel. And that's an interesting way of doing it because typically you don't want to have any high gloss finish below a coating like that. But if the coating comes off, you don't have to worry about the coating leading straight to steel because you have a finish underneath there as well. Which means that even though this outside coating might start to look really ugly, it should still hold up relatively well because you still have that, I guess, another powder coating or another finish underneath the outer powder coating, which is kind of weird. Okay, so we are ready to go. Just have to get hitched up. I want to show you the drop, and what I mean by that is whenever we put the weight on the truck, what the truck looks like, how it adjusts, how the hitch compresses, whatever ends up happening. We still have a good amount of weight on here. This is probably the equivalent to a 10,000 pound travel trailer. and we're going to see what it looks like once we throw the ball on here. Let me close the latch on the Demco Easy Latch coupler. Everything's pinned in place. Let's drop it down. All right. Still dropping the truck a pretty good amount. What happened to the hitch? You know, I kind of missed that, so I'm going to lift up a little bit. Oh yeah, you can see it. Definitely rocked in a little bit. Well, that's going to be interesting. Let's get everything hitched up, chained up, connected, and hit the road. Okay, so I started recording a little late, but just getting onto the bumpiest of roads. Again, we have the CURT Rebellion XD in the back. It is a 15,000 pound rated hitch with a 1,500 pound tongue weight capacity rating to it. Lightest duty of all of the ones we've tested so far, but well above probably what a lot of people are going to tow with. This one has a 2-inch shank versus a 2.5 and a 3-inch shank. The Bulletproof had a 2.5-inch shank, and it was their extreme duty version, the 36,000 pound version. The GENY had a 3-inch shank, and the Shocker had a 3-inch shank. So it's not that big of a difference, other than the fact that you might, if you tow extremely heavy for long periods of time with a shank that's small and you're using a bunch of reducers, you may experience a bit of an issue with pins possibly bending. So just keep that in mind. Going over some nice bumps right here. These are all bumps that absolutely are going to test out the shock absorption capability of this hitch. Hopefully give us the information we're looking for to make a good evaluation. So far, like the other hitches, it feels like it's taking the sharpest of the bumps away, the jarringness, I guess, like I said, the Tylenol effect. It's not going to make your headache completely go away probably, but it might reduce the most extreme part of the pain. And that's kind of what I'm feeling here. But again, we also have a much lighter load now. We're about 700 pounds lighter than we were. We're going to get up to faster speeds, and we'll be able to let you know how it feels here. You know what? This is not giving me that same porpoising feel that I got with the Bulletproof, a push-pull kind of effect. It's not too bad though. This one actually feels a bit more effective than the Bulletproof. And to be honest with you, so far, and again, this could just be because I'm towing lighter weight with it. This isn't rated to as high as the other ones. But so far, this one has a really pleasant feel to it. When we hit this big bump up here, it'll let me know for sure though, because this is where I've been reined in before. It feels good. This one feels pretty good. I'm actually pretty pleased with the performance of it so far. I wish they made this with a 3-inch shank. That'd be nice. And I wish it didn't stick off the back of the truck so much, but you know, they all pretty much have that one thing about them where they stick off pretty far. But overall, you know, this one performs pretty well. None of them are taking away all of the harshness. None of them are taking away the bumps and giving you like a smooth ride. But I can tell how they all have a means of reducing the harshest of shocks. Again, that spike. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm actually pretty pleased with the performance of the CURT product. I do wish they were manufactured here in the States. But I think the only one of all the ones I tested, or the only two, would be Shocker and GENY. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure Bulletproof doesn't manufacture their stuff in the States anymore. I know it's designed and engineered, kind of like way safe, but I don't believe. Maybe some of it is, but maybe someone from Bulletproof can reach out to me and let me know if they have all of their manufacturing still here in the States. I don't believe they do. Okay. Back onto a smoother road. Again, we got a couple jarring bumps coming up. And it's good to go on smooth roads and then have that jarring bump because it gives you a much more honest representation of how the hitch is functioning right here. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad at all. I'm actually a little surprised at the performance of the CURT. Yeah, that was harsh. I don't think it did a whole lot to dampen that one, but I'm sure it compressed. We'll definitely be able to see in the video how well it compressed. Alright, so we are getting back. We still have a few other products that we can kind of test. We'll probably do that in a later video, especially the slightly lighter duty GENY product. And that's going to be an interesting one because it's going to let us know how it compares against the much heavier duty version, which may not articulate as much under load. So the 16,000 pound version, to me, with this weight, should probably articulate pretty well. But we're running out of time today, so we'll probably come back and do that in another video, and then I'll give you my analysis of it. But the reality is, the CURT and the 16,000 pound GENY are probably more head-to-head competitors. But I did want to keep it to one hitch per brand in this series, and I have a feeling like the CURT performed better than I originally thought it would. That's good. The finish didn't. I mean, the chipping of the powder coat was odd, but who knows if that has any impact for most people on why they're going to purchase a hitch. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up. What do you guys think? We will take all of the data from the 4 different hitches, actually the 5 different hitches we towed, that's also including the baseline hitch, and compile it together, and I will try to give you the most, I guess, accurate comparison between my own driving impressions, how I felt towing each one of them, as well as the data that came back and the video footage of the hitches actually in action. So there's 3 pieces that are going into this specific segment and trying to make sure that you understand how these hitches performed. Hopefully it passes your muster. Hopefully you are good with how I've done this review, and hopefully you feel like it was fair and unbiased and I reflected each hitch in an accurate way with the type of weight that they should be, you know, able to handle. Anyways, I'd love to know your comments and feedback. I was actually pretty impressed with the CURT. Honestly, I was. And I think the reason why is because the way it works and the way it actually pivots more at a slope like this. The GENY pretty much rock up and down like this, whereas the shocker is going to rock a little bit like this. This actually rocks like this, because it goes in but at an angle, and it worked pretty dang well. I'm going to be honest with you, the CURT product to me, out of all of them, felt the smoothest, but I don't necessarily know, again, if that's solely because it was, or if it's because we had less weight, because we had quite a bit less weight, roughly 600 pounds plus less weight on the tongue. So that's absolutely going to play into it. But again, I want to hear your feedback. What do you guys think? What do you think of the comparison we did here? What do you think of the products? Do you have any of these products, and how they performed for you all? Is the specific hitch you have the best? Do you have a different type? I know a lot of people want me to test and evaluate AirSafe, which is a product that I have not tested yet. And if I do, I'll probably throw it into another video with some other products that also I haven't tested. All of these are available from my channel sponsor, eTrailer.com. I will put a link in the description of this video if you're interested. And quite frankly, if you don't know why I'm specifically talking about eTrailer, besides them being my sponsor, it's because they carry like every hitch out there except for AirSafe. So they have tons and tons of different hitches, and they can pretty much dial you into the one that's perfect for your trailer, the weight you'll be towing. So please give them a call, check out the website, and see if they have the hitch that you're looking for. And if you've been looking for a shock absorbing hitch, has this video helped you make a decision on a specific product? I sure hope it has. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, can you please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.